Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. Online Trading Academy, the sponsor of the show, over 25 years teaching people just like you how to trade and invest, how to get started in the markets if you're brand new. Maybe you just have a 401k or an IRA and looking to get started to have better opportunities with your financial future. Or you've been trading and investing for sometimes 10, 20, 30 years, but just looking for some more consistency. Markets keep changing, and we made a change back in 2022, a different direction in the markets, and that's down. And I think that's what a lot of people that have been trading lately have not seen before.
Including their advisors.
You're exactly right. And that's why we're seeing so many people come to these free investing classes that we do here locally. It's a great class. It's 2 hours long. Al teaches these. I teach these as well. And we introduce you to all the different techniques and concepts and more that we talk about here on the show. To simply get 2 seats for this investing class, you can just text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text investing to the number 210-210 for 2 free seats for this investing class. When you get text in, you're going to get a text right back with a day that might work best on your schedule. Just simply reply to that, and then we'll make sure we get you a call and make sure we get the right date for you that works the best on your schedule. We get it. People are busy these days. If you work during the week, we have classes for you in the evenings and on the weekends. If you work in the weekends or the evenings, well, we have classes for you as well during the week, during the day. So text investing to the number 210-210 right now. So Al, in that last segment, we were discussing some of the different income strategies to use with smaller amounts of capital, and that's really using leverage. I remember I talked about the story about my friend that bought that vehicle with a small down payment. And you can do that same thing in the financial markets. In the first segment, I believe it was, we talked about how to buy at wholesale and sell at retail just like the institutions do, just like Walmart does or Sam's Club, or I think you said Costco. They're buying at wholesale, selling at retail, which is in the market, buying at demand and selling at supply. And how we find that is on a price chart. That's where we make all of our financial decisions, is on a price chart. And then you put low risk, high reward, high probability entry points. You got to stack those odds and probabilities in your favor to have success with the markets. So as we build wealth now, a lot of people think, well, how do you really build wealth? You got to own all these different companies and put all your eggs in one basket and just do all these complex things. Well, the strategies you may be thinking about are not as complex as you think. Al, I want you to dissect that a little bit. What are the strategies to actually build wealth?
Well, first of all, if you look at the people that are truly wealthy, almost every one of them, if not every one of them, has a good part of or most of their assets in the financial markets. It may be the stock market, but more than likely they are also utilizing the other assets that are out there that are really more geared towards income. Because if you think about, look at your financial life. You're either in the income portion of your life, or you're accumulating assets, or you're in that distribution phase where you've built up wealth and you're distributing or taking money out of that.
That's the traditional thought, though, Al.
That's the traditional
make money
thought.
during your working years and then spend it all at retirement, right?
Yeah.
That's the traditional thought process.
Sure. I mean, and that's what you'd like to do, is make enough money while you're working so you have enough money to spend and enjoy when you're retired. But you cannot build wealth until you get the income portion right. Because if you look at, I mentioned earlier that about 68% of the people in the country are living paycheck to paycheck.
So does that mean you have to have a job that pays $500,000 a year or $1 million a year or $1.5 million a year to do that?
That would help.
It would help,
But you
yes.
don't need that. There are a lot of people that are retiring very comfortably that had just a kind of a maybe mid-level, maybe even entry-level job, but they were smart with their money. They used their money that they were making to make money.
So more sources then, more than just one source.
More sources. If you look at the people that are financially secure, the real successful people have as many as maybe 5 different sources of income. But that's not different jobs, and that's the mistake most people make, is they think, well, if I'm going to make more income, I have to get another job because that's where the income comes from. Look at the markets, the financial markets. Look at that as like a big ATM machine that you can draw money out of. Just draw some income out.
Well, there's strategies for that. It doesn't just throw money at you. Let's be real there.
You can't drive up to an ATM machine and take money out.
True.
But yeah, but you have to use the right strategies. I mentioned earlier, trade what's appropriate for you. If you're looking for income, that's probably not going to be a stock portfolio. Some people will buy stocks that have dividends, and that does generate some income,
Yeah,
but
those
that's
dividends
minimal.
paying you 1-2%. Boy, that's really breaking the bank there, isn't
Exactly. Well,
it?
when the dividends that you're getting from stock are not even approaching or exceeding the rate of inflation,
Yeah.
you're underwater. You're losing money. So what can you use to generate more income? We mentioned options before. We mentioned the futures market, the foreign exchange market. Those are assets that can be traded more on a short-term basis, but also they can be traded in different market conditions. You mentioned odds and
Yep.
probabilities. Do you think your potential for success is better if you have 3 out of 3 opportunities to benefit financially, or 1 out of 3?
Let me give an example there. We just, football's done now, but we just had the football season, and Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Right? They
When
did.
Patrick Mahomes dropped back, did he only have one receiver to throw it to, or did he have his first option, his second option, his third, maybe his running back as his fourth?
Sure.
Multiple options, and that's what the same thing with strategies. You got to have multiple strategies for income to actually build wealth.
Right. And it requires being a little more on the offensive side than just you have to be both playing both sides as a football team does. They have to play offense, they have to play defense. Most people are just putting their money into what we call a buy and hold strategy, which is typically in an index fund of some sort. And then they just hold on and hope that there's money there at the end. Well, that strategy might have worked okay in previous years when we were in a bull market, but we're not in a bull market anymore. So you have to play those odds. You have to be able to use something that is working in the current market conditions. Buy and hold isn't going to work. That's the easy thing to do. That's kind of the lazy man's way of just putting your money into something, disregarding what we think is the most important thing, which is price.
Well, Al,
It's price and managing risk, which is not considered in a buy and hold strategy.
so think about this. No, we talked about this. I believe it was the end of 2021 or 2022 about the number of new investors getting in the market.
Correct.
And I would say, I don't have a stat on this, but the majority of them were buying and holding.
Exactly.
So if you buy and hold at the top of the market, people that did that probably haven't done very well.
Sure.
So that's why you need strategies for all conditions.
Exactly. And if you're in an index fund like the S&P 500, the problem there now is that too many people came to the party. There's too many people invested in it. So if there is a run on that asset, for example, if people are getting out, it's like too many people exiting at one time, which is going to cause the price to go down. But
Kinda
here's
like
the
what they
real
call what they run the banks.
Yeah, but here's the real disadvantage. Those big funds are too slow to make changes for you to really benefit from them.
Uh-huh.
The S&P 500, there's 11 sectors there. If you look back at how the markets performed in 2022, the top performing sector was the energy sector. Yet that only makes up about 3% of the S&P 500. So if you were in that index fund, you had the smallest amount of your money actually invested in what was working. The S&P 500 didn't rebalance into energy until the energy prices had already peaked out. So the movement there is too slow. The assets that we're talking about, futures, Forex, options, those are more fast moving. They give you the opportunity to benefit in these big movements that we're seeing here. And if you combine them with our core strategy, which shows you when to invest in something, not necessarily why, but when to invest in it to have those odds in your favor, when to invest so that you have the lowest risk, and when to invest where you have the highest profit potential. Those are the things that are important that a proper strategy should help you to achieve.
Yeah, that's funny that you bring up the energy sector, and a lot of the energy sector, oil, right? XLE and oil is a it's
Sure.
energy, right, in that sector. And from the beginning of 2022, that's actually down about 50% now. So what does that tell you? Things change.
Things change. You have to be able to rotate. You have to be able to make changes. But how do you know when to make the changes? You
Based
have
off
to
supply
use
and
some.
demand.
Yeah, you have to have a strategy that shows you when something is going to stop performing and start underperforming, so you can benefit from that. And
Yep, the turns in price, and that's what our core strategy at Online Trading Academy is designed to do.
Right.
Is identify with accuracy the strategy of supply and demand, where to buy, where to sell, probabilities and odds, small risk, high reward. That way you don't have to be right every time. So you have to have your capital management correct. And that's what we train and teach here at Online Trading Academy is how to manage your capital correctly. And we have these investing classes we've been talking about all day here, and a great show here today. Have a lot of fun talking about the markets, but a lot of people texting in for this free investing class. So don't miss out. Text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 seats for this investing class, and we'll introduce you to our core strategy, which is designed to follow the banks and not trade against them. Text the word investing to the number 210-210 right now. Al, great show here today. You always have a lot of good words of wisdom. Let's hear today's OTA tip of the week.
Well, you know what? I saw this in an elevator, actually at an assisted living facility. I thought it was really appropriate. This is it. He who marvels at the beauty of the world in summer will find equal cause for wonder and admiration in the winter. What I mean by that is that, yeah, in the summer, that's a great time, but in the winter, that can also be a great time. The same thing is true in the markets. A bull market may be looked at as a great thing, but most people are looking at a bear market as bad. There are opportunities in a bear market. Look at both. There's wonder and there's amazement in both. So this is not a time to hide and hope things get better. Waiting for the perfect time just simply assures you that you're not going to change things. So there's always an opportunity, but now it means doing something different. So remember, you can't achieve a higher level of anything behaving as the person who got you to where you are right now. Try new things. It's hard to make a change when you stay within the limits of what you already know.
I like that. Out of the elevator this time and not of a fortune cookie. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.